Dear viewer, if you have been with me for a while, you would know that I tend to watch what insiders do, not just what they say. Management commentary can often sound reassuring, sometimes too reassuring. But when promoters reach into their own pockets and increase their stake, especially when they don't have to, it usually tells you where their conviction truly lies. Now, that by itself is never a reason to get carried away, but it is often a good place to start asking better questions. Recently, one such case crossed my path. A relatively under the radar name, Chemtech Industrial Valves. At first glance, it sits in a space most investors tend to gloss over. Industrial valves does not exactly make for exciting conversation, tips, or narratives. But dig a bit deeper and you realize that these are mission critical components. They regulate, direct, and control the flow of fluids across industries, from steel and power to oil and gas, chemicals, and even nuclear applications. And here is the interesting bit. While valves may account for a small fraction of the overall project cost, less than 2%, their role in safety and efficiency is disproportionately large. When something goes wrong there, the cost is not just financial. That is where reliability and engineering capability begin to matter far more than price alone. Chemtech seems to have quietly built its presence around this very premise. Over time, it has moved from general purpose valves to more specialized, customized, and value added offerings, which include automated control systems, modular solutions, and even large diameter custom built valves. A patented line blind product which significantly reduces shutdown time and cost by 90% and improves safety adds a layer of differentiation. The company has also been a beneficiary of a broader trend that I've been talking about, Capex and import substitution. As far as market opportunity is concerned, with focus on infra creation, investments are being made across sectors like roads, ports, housing for all, railways, rural electrification, smart cities, etc. Steel remains the backbone of this infra creation. The growth in steel capacity is expected to see fresh investments worth rupees 3 trillion over 5 to 7 years. Industrial valve opportunity itself is 1.5% of this capex, which is 45 billion, which is the opportunity for Chemtech industrial valves. In niches where technical capability meets cost advantage, Indian players are increasingly finding space to compete with global suppliers. Financially, the past couple of years reflect this tailwind. Revenues and profits have scaled up meaningfully, supported by post-COVID capex revival. The balance sheet remains comfortable, aided by recent equity infusion, although, as often is the case, it has also come with dilution in return ratios. But numbers alone don't make the story. What makes this case intriguing is the ambition that the management is laying out. From a revenue base of rupees 40 crore in FY25, they are talking about scaling to 250 crore by the end of the decade. That's not a small leap, it's a six-fold aspiration. The roadmap includes expanding beyond steel into sectors like thermal, nuclear, chemical, and newer areas within renewables such as hydrogen and battery manufacturing. Ambition, of course, is easy to articulate. Execution is where most stories get tested. Which brings me to the part that caught my attention and made me spend further time on it. In March 2026, promoters converted warrants into equity at rupees 200 per share, bringing in rupees 100 million of fresh capital, which is over 6% of current market cap. What stands out is not just the amount, but the context. The stock currently trades at less than half the price at which promoters have chosen to convert their warrants into equity shares. Now it is important to take a note of few things. The conversion price was locked in earlier in 2024 and 25% of that amount had already been paid. Technically, the promoters had the option to walk away, forfeit the initial amount, and let the warrants lapse. Instead, they chose to follow through, deploying the remaining capital at a price significantly higher than the market price. That to me is a more meaningful signal than any conference call optimism. It doesn't guarantee successful outcome, but it does indicate intent. Now some caveats. Chemtech is a microcap with all the familiar and inherent limitations. The business fortunes are tied closely to the capex cycle, and it has a meaningful exposure to steel, and it operates in a competitive environment where raw material volatility can play spoil sport. There has also been some softness in the current year's performance. Further, the profitability this year has been aided more by other income than core operations, something that needs closer scrutiny. So, where does this discussion leave us? Not with a recommendation, but with a starting point. This is not about rushing to act, it is about noticing where signals are emerging, where promoters are quietly backing their own narrative, and where the next layer of questions needs to be asked. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.